Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. I just decided to participate in a little contest that's floating around. Now, it's one of those things where I don't necessarily want to be part of this contest, like part of the entries, but the idea itself just kind of interested me, so I don't necessarily need gift cards or anything. I'm just kind of doing this for fun. But yeah, it's just sort of an idea floating around. So Vinyl Richie, I do watch his videos from time to time. I don't catch all of them, but if they pop up on my screen, because I stream everything on my PlayStation, so for the most part, and just decided to participate in the 10 records that no one in VC has, or at least supposedly doesn't have. So I'm going to be showing 10 records here I kind of scooped up. I thought it was going to be a little tricky, but it appears that I have quite a few records that I feel like nobody has currently. But yeah, these are the ones that popped up in mine. So, for all you chicken shits out there, got some chicken shit logjam. Gonna be showing some records that maybe you didn't suspect me showing, that go way back in history for me. So yeah, speaking of punk, I got a punk record I'm going to be sharing in my next video that I kind of just got turned on to, that I'm kind of sort of getting around to yet. But I found it locally, and I'll be sharing it in the next update. But this is a hardcore punk band that, this is a record that landed in the collection that I got from like an auction back when I was probably 11, 12 years old. Basically had all the classic titles, classic rock titles, Zeppelin, Sabbath, Pink Floyd, you name it. And it really became a big bulk of my collection, starting to get into records at the time. And this is one of those oddities that was in there along with the next record. So it's a hardcore punk band from Rapid City, South Dakota, which apparently they had a pretty big scene as far as the punk scene. They would play from like Rapid City to Fort Collins, Colorado, Cheyenne, Wyoming, just all around that region. And this is one of those bands, I just kind of discovered like, what an odd name, This came out in like 1990. I think you can still find these pretty cheap. Kind of got me into my hardcore punk rock phase I had going on for a short time. Because it wasn't all necessarily psych. I mean, I had my disco phase as a kid, had my soundtrack phase, had my punk phase, definitely around the early teens, 13, 14, which, I eventually became Hardcore Stooges fan. But Chicken Shit Logjam, I would say this is the better of the two. This is another band from their region. I think they might have been out of Fort Collins, but they moved to like Rapid City, had some connections there. This is Descent. And if you guys know my channel well, my URL for my channel is Descent88. That's how far back I go with this one. This came out in like 1988, and that was originally my name here on YouTube, Descent88. Back in like 2007, I think, is when I got the channel. Yeah, I don't know if you'd call this a private pressing. I guess it is. Kind of had a limited run. Again, another hardcore punk band, but this one's kind of more on the political tip, and I think they deliver it pretty well. This came with like a bunch of stickers, different stamps inside here. Very politically motivated lyrics, and they're on point, man. They're pretty good. Got some shots there, just young kids, man. I believe the guitar player of this group, Bob, I forget his last name, Bob Baker maybe. He got involved in a vehicle accident like in the early 90s, and kind of called it quits there, but definitely went to investigate. So it's kind of like skate punk as well, I guess you could call it too. Hardcore to the max for sure. And then on this tip, I found this one I think last year when I was rummaging through Sioux Falls and South Dakota and Yankton. I found this one. This is Today's Renaissance, their album One Point of View. This is one that kind of surprised me a little bit. It's all around pretty good. I'd say half of it's very good. It's on a small label here. It's kind of more on the, I wouldn't say psych, necessarily, but it's got some psychedelic flourishes going on, but it's definitely more flowery sunshine pop, and it's sort of in the vein of like the the Free design. Very much in that light, you know, very vocal harmony pop, but very good at the same time. Got some nice harmonies working for it. I think they're based out of the Sioux Falls area or St. Paul, Minnesota, I believe. No, it says Sioux Falls, so makes sense. Then, of course, bringing this label back up, I found this one at a record show in Omaha years ago, and I've crossed paths with this one a few other times too, on the Renee Records label, Civilization 1 by Civil Sound Experience. Small label based out of David City, Nebraska. I've talked about this label quite a bit in the past. Primarily a polka and country label, but this one ventures into some like jazz rock, a little bit on the psych tinge. They have some nice aesthetic guitar running throughout. A little on the bluesy side, but very tasteful at the same time. And they have like these fake autographs on the front, like as if Jimi Hendrix signed it or something, and Paul McCartney. But yeah, it's pretty cool concept. I've uploaded one track on YouTube, and that is Sunday Afternoon. It's one of the better highlights on here. Kind of a blue label. Don't know anybody that's shown any Renee records, in fact. So, I mean, it makes sense. It's a local find. You know, you don't see these popping around the corner all the time. So, still seeking my Graham James. It's the number one on the label I'm looking for. This one, I don't know anybody that's shown this, and I believe Jacob, I don't think he has this one either. I remember on a live stream he told me, or somewhere he's told me, I think he's still seeking this one, The Way It Is by Canadian band Rush. It's a Rush based out of Maine, actually. This is all performed live, but damn, this is one of the best lounge rock records I've heard, man. I think it's all original tracks, too. Illusions of Times Past on side 2 is the highlight. Got some great 70s synth work, kind of in a progressive rock realm, but very floaty, psychedelic a little bit. Just naturally psychedelic. I mean, in the way that they perform these tracks, it just kind of takes you elsewhere. The label there. Don't know how much these are popping up nowadays, but got a great deal on this a while back. I think you can still spot these for maybe 40 to 80 bucks, maybe, depending on condition. Just love that picture art there too. Just the aesthetic alone just screams mid-70s. Here's an oddball that I found in my Des Moines trip. This is Reborn, their album Alien. Got 2 copies of this. Had no idea what this was, and I brought it home. But Crusade was definitely a Christian label. Reborn. But looking at their outfits, I feel like they're associated with another social movement, unfortunately. But yeah, Linda Lovelace is part of this band, if that name rings a bell. She later became a Christian, and it's not the same Linda Lovelace, but kind of comical. Yeah, it's basically kind of Christian pop, but it's like, there's a couple interesting moments. The ending track, Alien, it's got kind of this weird Moog synthesizer work going for it, and then the opening track, Too Proud. It's kind of like soft rock from the 70s, but it's kind of on the cheesy side, but I kind of like those moments. Then this next one, this is Volume 2 by San Ulim. It's a South Korean psychedelic group from the late 70s, and I think they had some success back in their day. They're kind of fetching some good prices now, so I think 1 through 3 are pretty similar, but I think this is like the strongest one, at least for me it is. So it's pretty easy to track this one down for me, thankfully, but yeah, very demented fuzz on here. Very demented. Just rippling chords. Sometimes some corny moments, but in the end, just pretty pretty wild out there South Korean psych. I was trying to think of like a major label psychedelic title that maybe no one else has shown, or at least I don't know anybody that's shown it. It says Curfew, Let There Be Dark, and There Was Dark. United Artists label. It's just one of those records you just don't see people showing in the psych circles. I think it's pretty damn good. It might be a studio group. It might not have been a real group at the time, just how some of the tracks run together. But Photogenic Jenny, the first 3 tracks, Photogenic Jenny, Wait for the Moment, and Every Kind of Love, Everyday Kind of Love, is very good. It's some moments are kind of progressive, a little on the bluesy side, a couple of bubblegum tracks. You know, just it's all over the map, but it's quality stuff. Very much labeled, very much mainstream label kind of material. It's very good. And then got 2 more here. I don't know if you would consider this one an LP, but it's just one I figured, you know, it's different. I've only probably shown it once. I just took a blind chance on this one day. It was like $10 and it said pop psych. I didn't know for sure. It's definitely not psych, but it's more early 80s like AOR, kind of soundtracky, kind of pop music. The band's called Image. The record's called Today and Tomorrow. It's almost more like a promotional thing, if anything, because it's only one-sided. But it says there's 2 tracks, or maybe just 1 track from the United Artists motion picture, The Idol Maker, which I've never seen. Apparently there's a track from here, Here Is My Love. But it's actually pretty decent. I'm thinking of keeping this one. Yeah, it's very, very much soaked in that 80s sound, but kind of reminds me of songs you would like hear in like campy 80s movies taking place in the mall or something. It's kind of got that weird aesthetic to it. It's a keeper for now. I actually really dig it. Kind of power poppy on the power pop tip. And the final one, I was just spinning this one the other evening as I was kind of compiling the list, and I was like, yeah, this is a good one to share again. The Many Moods of New Breed. This came out in like 1970 or 69. Private pressing. It's like a power trio, I want to say, but there might be some other members involved. Or yeah, it's 4 members, I guess. First side's kind of more like a Blue-Eyed Soul, kind of hard rock sound. But then the whole side 2 is more on the bluesy acid rock side. Very ripping guitars, more on the hard rock based sound. Mississippi Delta, In the Wind, Unlock Your Mind. Kind of on the psych tip for sure. So just don't see this one popping up much, and got very lucky on this on eBay. Seller offered a great price and he dropped the price significantly, and we're just wanting to give it up. So got very lucky on this one. So yeah, that's my top 10 records that maybe nobody in the VC has. Definitely had a few other contenders, but for some reason I just don't play some of these records I was thinking about sharing, but because they don't really fit my taste or anything. But I figure I don't know about all the different scenes in the community these days, so yeah, that's my list. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you chicken shits later.